Airtable just shipped a brand new feature. It now allows us to trigger an automation from comments left on a record. Now, this is brand new territory for Airtable, and we are excited to explore it and jump into it. It opens a whole new world of possibilities for your Airtable automations. So if you're ready to learn more about how you can implement this new feature, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's our mission to help you unlock the full potential of Airtable and related no-code tools. And in this video, we're jumping into this brand new feature where we now have the ability to trigger automations from comments left in records. This is brand new territory for Airtable. And first of all, let's talk about what's even possible. So, number one, comments used to live kind of nebulously, just off in the ether under a record. And we couldn't really access them unless you went into the comment itself and read through the history. But now, with the ability to trigger automation, we can take action on those comments immediately. And in this video, we're going to go through a few different layers of how you can actually use this brand new feature. Now, before I get into it, I first want to invite you to join me for some training. We've put together a free Airtable crash course. So if you're still learning Airtable or you really want to make sure that you understand all that there is to know about Airtable, grab our crash course absolutely free at gapconsulting.io/Airtable-crash-course. Of course, we'll include links wherever you found this video. But now let's jump into the scenario that we have. And I'm going to start first from our interface. So here I am looking at different deliverables. Imagine that we had all these different things that we were doing. We list them out as deliverables. You can see there's a type, there's a status, etc. And of course, as is true with many of the different components in Airtable, we've toggled on comments for our deliverables interface. So I can sit here and @reference somebody who has access to this. In this case, I'll @Sarah and I'll leave a test comment and just send that through. And so when that information goes through, previously, we couldn't do anything about it. We had to wait for Sarah to log in and actually look at this comment and take some kind of action, or maybe have a conversation back with us about whatever is going on in this record. Well, no longer. Now we can actually trigger automation based on this comment being received. So let's go into the first layer here. The first layer we're going to build is actually creating a comment log table so that every new comment, instead of just living out in the ether, is now going to come in as an actual piece of data, tangible log that we can reference back to over time in Airtable. So first, to build this, we're going to go back to the data layer. I'm leaving the interfaces and creating a new table, and this will just be comment log. Now for the comments, what we're going to do is bring in who left the comment. This will be the user. And next to that, we're going to add the comment itself. So let's go with a long text here so we can bring that in. Let's go ahead and name this field a comment. And we can also grab the date timestamp. So we can bring in the date and time, and we'll display time zone as well. So let's go ahead and get this started now. I'm going to toggle off my notifications. Now, after date, let's also add a link back to the actual place where this comment originated. So for us, that's going to be the deliverables table because we are talking about adding comments to deliverables. Okay, we're going to get rid of our extra fields or our extra records that are here, and let's build out our automation. So if you go to see all now, you'll see that we have the ability to take action when comment is added. That is the trigger that we're going to go from for our deliverables table, because that's where we are building this automation. And we can test the trigger, and we find that first comment that we just left a moment ago. So if we pop in here, let's take a look at all the different things that we're getting access to. So of course, we're getting access to the record on which the comment was left. But then we also have access to the comment itself. The test comment, who is it from? Who is that user? Who is the user's email, the user's name, and when was that created, the actual comment itself? You also see if I mentioned any users, which I did. So you're seeing who was @referenced, as well as who is subscribed to this. So if you don't already know, you can subscribe to receive notifications for different comments or in different records. And no one has yet subscribed for this particular record, but if there had been someone, they would show up here. So now what can we do with this? The first phase is going to be to build the log. So we're going to create a record inside of our comment log table, and we're going to fill out information. So first of all, who is the person who left the comment? This is going to be dynamically set up based on whoever left the comment in the trigger record. So again, let's dive into our comments, scroll down just a little, find your comment, and we want to bring in the user ID for the person who left the comment. Because this is a user field or a collaborator field type, we can just go right to that user ID, which will always start with USR. So I'm going to bring in that user here. That is going to be the person who left the comment, but then we need the actual body of the comment. Let's go into the comment itself. Now here we see the text. We also do get it as a JSON string down here, but of course we want this neat and tidy from the text alone. And now next we want to fill out the date. So we can grab the date here, again, go to dynamic, and we will bring in the date from the comment. So you can again drill into the comment and you see the created time that the comment came into existence, plug that in. And then lastly for us, we're going to link this to the actual deliverable record. And so in order to get this, we're going to go in here and sync up to the Airtable record ID. Remember, this is from the deliverables table. This is the record that triggered the automation to begin with. So let's go ahead and just run this as configured, and we're going to flip now into our data layer, and we will see that this record was created. So no longer is the comment just this thing that floats out there attached to the record somehow. This is now tangible, live information. It's showing you this person left a comment, this is what they left, this is the date, and this is the actual deliverable record that the comment was left on. So as you see, we have all the information we need, and we can now run a proper log on these things. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Not only are we able to log this comment, but we can actually take action with it. So let's set up an example. Imagine that our clients were logging in here into our Airtable system. They were looking at their projects, and they could see different deliverables in this particular case. They could leave comments directly here. Now, maybe we don't want to allow our clients to change the information directly in our database, but we might want to take action on comments that they leave in the database. So for example, if they're reviewing a deliverable like the event invitation design, we might want to take action on that. If they say, yes, this is approved, well then, why should they have to wait for us to log in and then take action to approve it? Answer, they shouldn't. We should have an automation built so that if they comment that something is approved, it gets automatically approved. So let's build it. So number one, we have our data layer and we have our automation that's creating this audit log, right? Now, the next thing we want to do is search to see if there is any approved text in the comment. And for this, we might go to a formula. Let's go with approved question mark. And we will simply say, if we find the word approved inside of the comment record, then we want to toggle true. And if not, we'll just be blank. So what does this mean? Okay, this little formula is simply saying, I'm going to look for the word approved here in the comment. If I find it, I'm going to say true. So for example, let's suppose I left a different comment and I actually wrote approved here. Well, as soon as that's in there, you'll see that our formula flipped over to say true because it found the word approved in the comment. So now we can take action on the comment that we found right here. So we've built this log. It's logging all the information, and we can now build a separate automation that updates our deliverable to be approved. And it can move it from the status that it's currently in to whatever the approval status is. So moving it from in review to approved. Now that's great, but it's not perfect because if we go back to our comment log, what if somebody leaves a comment that says, I like where this is going. It's not approved yet, but I'd like to see another revision that has this. Well, now they've left the word approved in the comment. And with a simple formula, this is going to break. If we are simply looking for the word and not looking for context, then we could improperly build an automation that approves things that aren't ready. So instead, let's use a little bit of AI magic in this automation as well. So going back to our automation, where we are triggering based on a new comment being added, why don't we add something here so that we analyze the comment itself? So we can bring in a little bit of AI, and let's go ahead and create this prompt where we say, analyze the comment here. And we'll drop in the comment in a moment. And then we'll say, if this is approval, then output approved. If it is not an approval related comment, output null. So we really only are asking AI to give us two different outputs. And of course, in a more productive or robust prompt, we would also say only ever output one or the other, etc. Now, this is just a high-level example so that you can understand how to build this. So I'm not going to go into the complete complex prompt, and I'll just keep it pretty basic. But we do have to bring in the comment, and let's actually include it like this. We'll bring in our comment text, and I'm going to add just a bracket here so that the AI knows that this is the input that we're bringing in. Now let's do a quick analysis here. For our particular comment, if you recall, it said something like, take a look at this, and it said approved on it. So when we test this action, we would expect AI to acknowledge that this is an approval of the deliverable. Let's scroll down and take a look. We see that the prompt is analyze the comment here, test comment from Gareth. Okay, so it did not include the part that said approved because that was not in the trigger because we wrote that after the fact. So let's actually test this with another comment that does signify approval. But before we get to that, let's finish the automation. If this suggests that it's approved, then we want to update the status. So we can set a condition here. So we'd build out a little bit of conditional logic, and we can say, if this step right here, the output is approved, then and only then do we want to update the deliverable record itself. So let's come here. We will go to update record, and we will find the deliverable. We will be updating the record that triggered the automation. And now that we have the record, we're going to add the field, and the field is going to be the status field that we are updating to be approved. Because every time that this AI suggests that it's an approval in the comment, then we're going to put the status to approved. So now, as soon as the client who's accessing Airtable and commenting on the record approves of something in the comment, we're going to log the comment. That's this step. And then we're going to analyze the comment. And if it signifies approval, automatically update the deliverable. This is making our work faster, better, stronger than ever before. So make sure to turn this automation on, and of course, give it a better name than this. If this were a real example, I would not leave it as automation 1. But let's now go back to our interface and actually use this on some comments or on some deliverables. So we're going to launch this again. And let's say on this particular one, I drop in a comment that says, this is awesome work, please approve. So I've dropped that comment in. Let's send it through. Now, of course, this is going to have to go to work on the background. But as I was talking there, you saw that the record was created on the back end. It was then analyzed to see if it was an approval comment. Of course, it was. And so you saw the status here get updated to approved. And the best part about this is I did not have to actually mark anything approved. All I had to do was leave a comment, and we have it in the log. Now let's take another example. Here is the infographic. Let's say good progress so far. This is not approved yet, but we're making headway. Here's that comment. Let's send it through and see what happens. Is it approved? Is it not? It should not be, even though we did say the word approved. And you see that nothing is getting updated. The status is not updating because AI is properly acknowledging that this is not an approval. This is where our formula would have failed. And don't forget, all of these records are being created in our record log. So we could either surface this at the data layer, so you see it here, and again, our formula, mark this true, and our formula here did not mark it true, and yet this is the one that actually approved, and this is the one that did not approve. So this is exactly why using some AI in conjunction with your automations is really going to help you kick it up to the next level. But again, the big release here, those comments do not live in a vacuum anymore. You have access to them and you can bring them into your automations with this new comment trigger in Airtable. I hope you got a ton of value from this. Of course, if you are ready to build something cool and you need a little bit of guidance, swing by our website for a free strategy call. At gapconsulting.io/strategy-call, you can sign up and speak to someone from our team about your project and get some concrete next steps put into play for you. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, do give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you see more content like this. But the most important thing, keep on building.